Okay, great morning. Well, this morning I was on the net, ran across this one, of course, another one of these extremists, so-called Christian, of, be afraid of everything. Be afraid of everything. You know, you have to have discernment. Now, it's not based on your feelings, it's discernment. Well, yeah, it is based on their feelings. It's some knee-jerk reactionary thing they have to something that they're calling now discernment. You know, oh, I went in to buy these Chinese herbs and I felt something was off. I didn't feel right. I had well, did you leave? No, I didn't leave. Well, you should have left. Oh, I went and had a massage and I had a feeling something was off. I asked the person, oh, they're doing Reiki. Oh my God, did you get up and leave? No, I didn't leave. I was too embarrassed to leave. You should have left. And talking about, oh, they're praying over this stuff, putting evil intentions in the food, putting evil intentions in, just absolutely all fear-based. Fear-based hate is what it is. You know, so they get these people amped up in fear over everything they do, okay? If they don't look like you, don't talk like you, oh my God, you're going to have a fear reaction. Oh, it's discernment. It's discernment. You know, and this is what I see with these preachers. Everything, anything to do with the East, it's all demonic. Okay, all demonic. If you go to health things, it's demonic. Okay, it just, and you see people being, you know, running on their mental ideations. It's what's ruling them, what they keep running on, based on their past and the other dramas that are coming up, and they want to call it discernment, or, you know, all these fear-based things. So whatever's coming up in their mental, emotional stuff, they want to see it as something more than what it is. Just, yeah. So how did Christianity become an absolutely fear-based religion? I see these preachers and all they're talking about, they're not talking about Christ and the good message and what Christ came to do to liberate people. They keep talking about the power of demons. Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. Okay? Have discernment. That's it. Stay amped up, looking around every corner for a demon. Oh my God. Oh, I had a bad feeling. Oh my God, it's horrible, it's horrible. I need to run away. I need to pray. I need to pray real quick. Oh, yeah. And it's just, it's got people wound up, just like you see these one I call the evil angel squad, some of the evangelicals that are preaching things that had nothing to do with Christ's message. They're preaching prosperity things. They're preaching nothing but demons. You know, you need to be delivered. If you've ever read a book that has anything to do with Easter, you need to be delivered. So, you know, you have all of these things, and you see the message of Christ, the good message, being pushed to the back of everything. And you watch this, and that's why I stopped going to the churches, institutionalized churches, and became a person of spirit rather than of dogmas, because the dogmas are created by men's ideas about it, you know, and they make this list of the do's and the don'ts and stuff, and they keep wanting to define it and put it in a smaller and smaller box every time you turn around until they have you just really wedged in. And I used to go to evangelical churches. I used to volunteer time for PTL and those things way back when. When I was starting my search and seeking, yes, read the Bible cover to cover, prayed about it, went on my journey, and, just saw the supposed Christian thinking Christ did not come to become a religion. He didn't come to be made into a religion. He was a reformer of Judaism. Okay, he came to liberate people from that system that they had. It was just based on these hard things. If you've committed this thing, then it's okay to stone them. It's okay to kill your kid. It's okay to, these things are in the Old Testament. He came to liberate people from that. And I see these so-called churches now, and did Christ go preaching in churches all the time? No, where was he? He was out among the people. He was out in God's element. He never talked about building a structure. Okay, when did he ever talk about building an edifice and a structure? Yes, he did at one time when he was young. He went to talk to the temple, the priests at the temple. But what happened with the temples? Okay, they're no longer there like they were, where they were having these offerings and stuff. All of that stuff ended. Okay. What happened when Christ was on the cross? The veil for the Holy of Holies split. It opened. Why? Because that's available to everyone. It's not just for the high priesthood, which I see happening many times with Catholic now. You've got to go to the priest, you've got to go to the intercessor, you've got to, only they can be, well, all that ended with, when he was on the cross, the temple veil rent. It tore. That system was ended. And so now, anyone could go to the Holy of Holies. It's within, okay? And he talked about that it's within. And you bring it within and without, okay? So again, I just see these things happening, and it is concerning because they want to make everything demonic that's not under their so-called churchiology, trying to put this fear-based things into people. And you see this happening, and then bringing politics into the church, putting 45 on a platform. We've seen that. So they are really taking the words of that Christ came to give that were liberating, and again, preaching a different Christ that's in the Bible, preaching a different message, taking things out of there and spin it. And I see this done a lot. They'll take one verse out and spin it rather than looking at the whole of it. And then what did they do? The apostles themselves did not write about Christ until like 40 years later. Then they wrote what he said. And they're consistent one with another, except for who? Paul. Now, Paul was not one of the apostles, okay? And you see him bringing in things that are against what Christ was teaching. Christ was a liberator, and he's saying women should be silent in the church. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. And he was very judgmental. He was very, yeah. And, he was one that wanted to be kind of the head of the Gentiles. He was out there preaching this and that. Well, I kind of see him like one of the first evangelicals, okay? And he was bringing in, some of what he was saying was truthful, but other parts of it were the spin that he was putting on stuff. So already, and you can look it up yourself, there are many that will talk about Paul and very critical of the things that he was bringing in. Now, I just ordered the Ethiopian Bible. Did you know that Ethiopian Bible has way more books in it than does the King James Version or the Catholic? Now, Catholic Bible has the, what do they call, hypocrisy? No, well, you know what I'm talking about. It's got extra books in the Bible that the King James Version does not have in it. The Ethiopian Bible has even more than that. Okay? So I've just ordered that. So looking forward to that coming. And I want to read the other texts. It's supposed to be the most full Bible there is. And they also say the Ark of the Covenant, which has been lost, the Ethiopians have it. Okay? So looking forward to getting that. Yeah. So I'll explore that when it comes and see what else is in there. So anyway, I just wanted to talk a bit about this today because I see, and it was of concern for me many years ago when I started seeing, especially the first one that I noticed that was really off was the prosperity things. Because there's nothing that Christ said that was talking about making a lot of money. And you see these prosperity teachers, and you see that one, what was it, Crystal Cathedral this guy built? And you're looking at that, and what does that have to do? When did Christ ever say build churches, build buildings? He was out among the people, okay? And he was always, in alignment, in attunement with the divine is, and spoke about the liberating things. And then you see them trying to do like what they did in the Old Testament, take the liberating things that he was saying and twist it into something which is repressive. So looking at these things, I did my journey. And I looked at all the Christian persuasions and then also the meditation and the other things, where I was led, and came to that peace within, the peace that passes understanding, what they term as that, and all the things that had been driving me and all of the pain and those things that, keep the mind repressed, suppressed, were liberated. Those things were as if it never happened, okay? So I know that the path is within, and like Christ said, God judges the hearts and the mind. He doesn't say he judges the religious persuasion, okay? That's not what he said, okay? But you have those so-called Christians that everything has to be here and it has to be one way, and that's it. Now, Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And if you are a follower of me, you should be following that way, that truth, that life, okay? But I know a lot of Buddhists that are more Christian than Christians, okay? they're following more of what Christ was talking about than do a lot of these so-called evangelical Christians. Now, this is not to say all evangelicals are bad or of the, the dark realms, but many are. You could have this, in any of the churches. We've seen a lot of churches come up that are just really off, So again, you have to use discernment. But it's more important to be a spiritual person, to seek and follow what Christ was saying, follow that, and to go within and commune with God, and be a decent person, okay? So I'm going to leave this here for now, but, we have people that are trying to hate on a lot of things, okay? We see that kids, just more violence happening, and, I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but Ethiopians are very dark-skinned, and they have the most complete Bible that there is, okay? And that's the truth of it, okay? And Jesus, I'm sure, was not really light-skinned. I'm sure he had an olive skin tone. So you have these ones trying to manufacture Jesus as something that he was not, trying to, again, twist and spin things into something other than what it is. So just be aware of that. I keep seeing more and more of these preachers coming online that are, just heinous. I mean, look at some of the ones they're wearing a cross, and they're out there, what's her name, just saying the most egregious, nasty, filthy things you can think of, and saying they're good Christians. And you're going, what? Yeah, no. So anyway, Christ came to liberate. He came to say, whatever I have done, you can do, and even more than that, because I go to the Father that sent me, okay? So, I have some of those that come online and, oh, you do tarot and you're horrible and you're, well, think what you will. But, yeah, think what you will. Okay. So I'm going to leave this here. But it's just be open, be aware. I tell people, if you're going to, read the Bible, start with what Christ said. And you get the Bibles that the words of Christ are in red. Read that first. See what his view is, what he was teaching, what he was preaching, what he was trying to liberate people from. And the first thing, one of the big things he said is fear not. Don't have fear. And love your neighbor as yourself. And do good to those that spitefully use you. Okay, don't be a hater. Okay, what did he say? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Okay, to the ones that nailed him up on the cross, Father, forgive them. Okay, he wasn't railing against them, he wasn't condemning them, he wasn't, and we see these ones trying to condemn people to hell. Did Christ condemn them to hell? Even the ones that nailed? No. You never saw, only one time in there did he cursed a fig tree. He did do a curse once. One time in there. He cursed the fig tree because it wasn't bearing fruit. Okay? Its nature is to bear fruit, and it was not bearing fruit. So again, if you're going to be a follower of Christ, you will bear fruit. By your fruit, you will know them, okay, is what he says. By your fruit, you will know them. So look and see what's coming out of it. Not just what they're talking, but what are they living? What are they actually doing? You know, we have these ones, like Jimmy Swaggart is one. Okay, he was going to prostitutes and this and that. He got caught. Oh, Father, I have sinned. He was doing it for a long time. Okay? I went to one of the Jimmy Swaggart things, you know, and one of the band members started hitting on me, and I'm going, what are you doing? You know, you're supposed, oh, Jimmy's out there, does it all the time. What? You know, so you see behind the scenes. I knew another woman, she was a Christian singer, was on PTL, just said, you know, the most egregious, nasty people ever. And a lot of the bands, these Christian bands, were just in it for the money. And the head of PTL, Pat Robertson, was the nastiest person you'd ever run into behind the scenes. Well, he's that way on the things. I've never, you know, Pat Robertson is another one that I looked at and was just horrified, you know, that he's supposed to be a Christian. Where is he following what Christ was teaching? It's not there. You see somebody that's judgmental, hateful out there continuing just to spread hate and division, and that's not what Christ was talking about. Okay? So, you know, the thing is to love. Like I say, you know, I tell people live from honesty. Christ talked about being honest. Honesty, integrity. Live with integrity. Transparency. Don't do something behind the scenes. Okay? And put on a mask and a face to the front, but hide something you need hidden. So what's to say? You live like you're in a glass house, okay? Transparency. Sacredness. If you live in a mind of sacredness and you see these things as holy, okay, and you see what is here and you live in a life of the mental of holiness. Holy is set apart from God, for God. Something that is set apart for God. Okay, holy. And simplicity. Live a simple life. Okay? So those are the things. Basically, if you live by those things, you'll be doing the things that Christ said to do. Okay? You'll be open to the message. You'll be open to spirituality. Okay? And Christ spent time with who? The publicans, the prostitutes, those that he said the well do not need a physician. It's those that are ill that need a physician. Okay? So he spoke to those that needed the help. If you're doing the right things, you're following a right life, okay, you're already good, because God judges the hearts, the minds, the motivations, the reasons that you're doing things, not just what you're doing. We have, like the mafia, we give a lot of money to the Catholic Church. Looks good on the surface, okay? But they're trying to buy their way into heaven, even though he's giving a lot of money to these things. And we see a lot of the rich do that. They give money, but it's a tax break. Okay? They're not giving it because they really care about humanity. It makes them look good. They get a tax break, makes them look good, okay? It raises their esteem in the eyes of people. So they're not doing it because out of love, out of compassion, they're doing it to make themselves look good, okay, or trying to buy their way, okay? So, yeah, I'm going to leave this here. I see that it's almost time for the group, the energetic connection group. So I got to get off of here for now, off my soapbox for the morning. But, these things I learned through my own journey. It was a very long journey, and that's what I asked for. It wasn't for family, wasn't for all these things. What I was asking for was to know God. I wanted to know, what is God? Does God exist? What is God? And that was my life's journey. I asked that from a young age, okay? And that's the journey that I went on, and it was not an easy journey. It wasn't an easy journey, but it was so worth it. I did get the answers that I was looking for. Those doors were opened, okay? So hard won wisdom. So I'm going to leave this here, love and light, and I'll see you online.